the fat burning stack of the 90s. If you did bodybuilding in the 90s or the early 2000s, you already know what I'm gonna say. ECA, it's in the name. I had to do that. Ephedrine, caffeine, aspirin was the hottest fat burning stack that bodybuilders were using by the dozen in the 90s. In fact, all the coaches that I worked with recommended myself to take the ECA stack. So let's talk about the ECA stack. Like I say to you, it's a combination of 3 compounds: ephedrine, caffeine, aspirin. And let me tell you why, give you a bit of an education here, right? So when you take ephedrine, basically what happens is you raise levels of CAMP in your body. And what that does is it attacks white adipose tissue in such a way that not only do you get a heightened metabolic response in your body, you also get a thermogenic fat burning effect in the body. The problem is, if you just take ephedrine by itself, that effect doesn't last too long. However, if you add caffeine and aspirin in, you greatly exacerbate, right, the effect of that thermogenic process and that metabolic response to now where it lasts a lot longer. So what you would typically do is you would take ECA 3 times a day. And I've done that myself. And let me tell you something now. It's like you're focused from another planet. You got non-stop energy, right? So you can just fucking keep on working, which is just phenomenal during a fat loss period or during a contest prep, because obviously a moving body is burning more calories. The more calories you're burning, the leaner you're gonna get to an extent. Secondly, ephedrine and caffeine have a fucking incredible effect on what? Suppressing your appetite. That is exactly what you need when you're dieting. So now you look at it and you think, well, I'm able to work harder without getting so fatigued. And I'm also able, right, to go with low food without getting overly hungry. And last but not least, it exacerbates everything you're doing because you're almost in a continuous state where your metabolic response is heightened all day, along with your thermogenesis. So the fat loss results, look, they're pretty fucking awesome. It was a staple of many bodybuilders in the 90s. And what they would do was you'd do ephedrine, caffeine, and aspirin for a 2 to 3 week stint. And then they would literally cycle that with clenbuterol for 2 to 3 weeks. Because the theory behind it was ECA or even clenbuterol, their fat loss effects only last so long before the body adapts to it and your return that you're getting is less and less and less. So when you cycle it like that, you're hitting your body fresh. Once you cycle it out, you give your body time to recover so that when you add it back in, it has that dramatic effect again. And it was an incredible fat loss stack. Today, you hardly see it anywhere. Ephedrine itself was banned in a lot of countries because ephedrine you can actually mix with other compounds to create recreational drugs, right? Which is one of the biggest reasons why in countries like the UK, Europe, Australia, ephedrine was banned. So you don't really see much people using it today. Typically, people for fat loss today will use albuterol, clenbuterol, Yohon-B, T3, T4, which I'll cover. I'll cover all these fuckers. Don't you worry about that. They're all on my hit list. But when we talk about nostalgia, if we talk about the 90s and fat loss stacks, ECA was the king. And if you were in the 90s, I'd love you to comment what your experience was on it, because when I done ECA, I just felt fucking wired all the time. I couldn't sleep, right? I was just like all the time, you're just going. And it worked great for fat loss to the point where I had to actually eat more food because of how well my body was burning body fat. But it's rough, it's a rough ride. And I think in some ways, it's probably good that it's not so easily accessible now.